Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I said many times, patience is a virtue. I know these idiots tried to make it a non-virtue, but it is because they can't change the laws of nature, my friends. Without patience, you cannot hunt. And if you cannot hunt, you cannot feed yourselves. If without patience, you're not going to wait for the crop to grow, know what I mean, and so on. Just to give you just an subsistence necessity of patience, or that you can use it and is very needed. In this case, we have Poland, and we have Ukraine, and we have Russia, we have United States. I said many times that Poland's interest in Ukraine war against Russia is like this. First, they are very happy to have Russia destroyed. They don't like Ukrainians and they want territories from Ukraine, the Western territories, Lvov, they want it. I'm talking about the Poles. Third, they want to be recognized as being a great power. Okay, so these are just a few interests why Poland is involved in this war in Ukraine. It's so pushy and so verbal, including the fact that Poland is the American Trojan horse inside Europe. The problem is, I suspect that Poland will turn around and bite the US hand as soon as it can. And it will be able when it's going to be armed enough and the enemies around will be weakened, which is Ukraine. Germany is already under occupation, so Germany doesn't really matter. And if you look around, the only thing that's big over there is Russia. And since the Poles don't like the Russians don't like the Poles, that's going to be, they are eager beavers in this war. Now, we are to believe, according to these idiots, and I said many times that that's incorrect, we are to believe that actually the Poles and the Ukrainians are just like brothers. They're so friends. Oh my God, look in history and see how friendly they were to one another, okay? So now intervenes the patient aspect of this video, which is they come and say, the Poles and the Ukrainians come and say, you know what, actually, we don't really like you and we are losing our patience with you, with your BS. The grain little scuffle shows that rupture, and not only that, they have a long history in the Second World War, that some big wounds that they call, oh no, you wanted to commit genocide against my people, no, you wanted, no, Bandera, no this and no that. Okay, that's a wound that is still open and they keep it open. Without that, closed, and it's not going to be closed unless, all right, they will not be friends. As I said, right now, Poland helps Ukraine not because it likes those guys. No, it coincides with its interest. Now, what happened now? Now we have a Ukrainian, a Zelensky advisor, coming out and saying, you know what? As soon as this freaking war ends, you're going to see Poland and Ukraine at it. And I said this before. If the Russians, there are two scenarios here. Either Russians keep the front like this, and then the Poles will not move into Ukraine. Or if the Russians break the front through another counteroffensive, let's say not the Ukrainians, and they start moving towards Kiev, I foresee 99% certainty, the Poles will cross the border into Ukraine and get the Ukrainian Western territories, claiming that they defend and provide safety to the population over there, Polish population. So the Russians cannot go and take over, as they bring it as a scenario. No scenario, but whatever. I guarantee you that will happen if the Russians start moving westward. Now, if the front stays over there, these guys are not going to go over there because they will not have the Americans' green light. They will have it if the Russians come, or they will ignore it. At that time will be, well, it's our national interest, we do whatever we want to do, and so on. Now, if the Ukrainians supposedly fight with the Russians, I don't get that, I don't put into consideration, I don't consider the other option of the Russians losing. Because if they lose, they use nuclear weapons and the show is over right there. Now, that's how I foresee happening. It's only under one scenario that Russia loses. Putin and his guys are just gone in about, I don't know, a few hours, and then a new regime is installed, like the Ukrainian regime after the coup in 2014 in Ukraine, takes over and then bends over Russia without pens, whomever, whenever, however they want it. Only that would mean Russia lost. Militarily, Russia will not lose. Will not lose because if it's impossible. How do you think they're going to write in their history that they lost against Ukraine, which, they don't fight Ukraine here. They fight NATO. They fight the mighty NATO. And the mighty NATO still doesn't kick Russia's butt. They say, no, Ukrainians are fighting. Okay, tell yourselves that. So the ones who still believe that's true. Let's go on Russia Today here and analyze what the Ukrainian says. So Russia today, August 6, 2023, first atomic bomb dropped in 1945 in Hiroshima. I would say that's a war crime. Zelensky advisor casts doubt on future relations with Poland. And I'm quoting, the friendship between Kiev and Warsaw will last only until the end of the conflict with Russia. The top presidential aide says, we know that, only idiots don't know that. Poland and Ukraine will begin, quote-unquote, competing. It's a euphemism for fighting with one another after the resolution of hostilities between Kiev and Moscow. Mikhail Podolyak, the top aide to Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, has claimed. The senior official made the remarks on Friday during a live appearance on Ukrainian TV. So the cat is out of the box or the sack or whatever. It's right there. The existing friendship, quote-unquote, between Poland and Ukraine will not last forever, he warned, and I'm quoting. Today, Poland is the most close partner and the most close friend to us. Not a friend in crime, partner in crime. And basically, it will remain as such until the end of the war, end quote, Podolyak stated. After the hostilities end, the two countries will be, quote-unquote, competing with each other, he added, struggling to control, and I'm quoting, this or those markets, consumer markets, and so on. Well, they talk about markets, but you just wait. And after a while, you're gonna find out they don't talk about the markets, they can talk about countries. You see, I'm guessing, I'm 100% certain, these are the Poles and those are the guys from Ukraine. All right, just by their dress, because somehow they are at war and they can't change clothes. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Over the course of the ongoing conflict, Warsaw has asserted itself as the main backer, or not Boris Becker, but backer of Ukraine in Eastern Europe and one of its main supporters among Western countries. It has lavishly supplied Ukraine with assorted weaponry and military hardware, while at the same time becoming a top hub for war supply deliveries from elsewhere. In addition, the heavy presence of Polish-speaking mercenaries fighting for Kiev has been repeatedly reported from the front line. The seemingly flourishing ties between Poland and Ukraine, however, have been heavily dented by a bitter row over agricultural produce. Earlier this year, Poland and other Eastern European nations endured mass protests by farmers who called for an embargo on cheaper Ukrainian produce, which had damaged local markets, including the fact that the European Union stated the Ukrainians use a certain kind of pesticide that is actually forbidden. It's illegal in European Union. So it's another reason. The situation was temporarily diffused by Brussels, which introduced temporary restrictions on Ukrainian exports in May in order to protect farmers in Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, and Bulgaria. However, the ban does not prohibit the transit of Ukrainian agricultural produce. This week, Polish Agriculture Minister Robert Telus vowed to unilaterally embargo Ukrainian produce should the EU fail to extend the restrictions set to expire on September 15. And I'm quoting, I want to make it clear that after September 15, Ukrainian grain will still not be transported to Poland, Telus warned. And they have those things in the Second World War, okay, with genocide and so on, Ukrainians killing a lot of Poles, and then the Ukrainians claiming the Poles returned the favor, if you know what I mean. So here it is, my friends. I guarantee you, 99% certain, those are the scenarios and those are the only reasons why these guys are over there. Why do you think you want a strong neighbor when in a world that you compete for resources and influence? These are not friends. There's nobody friends with anybody. It's just temporary interest and alliances in order to plunder another guy. So if you want to beat someone that you're kind of afraid and you want to minimize your losses, you gang on that person. And you gang, so you minimize your losses, you win, and then the biggest guy in the group, like a gang, are gonna get the spoils and distribute them to the guys participating over there. Like, see Iraq, for instance. Okay, the same here. And then they disband and they wait for another victim. But like wolves, if one of the victims is wounded or one of the victim doesn't participate, let's say like Hungary, they will turn on it and will try to destroy it. So you don't want a strong nation next to you because you're competing, you're not friends. You can be in a little coalition when it's about destroying the third one, and then you immediately turn against one another. That's how it functions. But hey, if you want to look and watch movies, yeah, we're all friends, allies, and we have all kind of treaties that you can break at any moment and violate if the interest dictates. So in this case, Ukraine doesn't want a strong Poland or a strong Russia, and the same. Poland doesn't want a strong Ukraine. And Ukraine could be dismantled in no time because a lot of its territories belonged to other countries surrounding Ukraine and were given to it by the Soviets. Those criminals, remember? The communists, yes. Stalin's ultimatums and the Second World War, he took from here, gave to that, took from Germany, gave to these guys, took from Poland, gave to Soviet Union. When Soviet Union dismantled, it remained into Ukraine. No, those territories should have been given back because they were taken under certain kind of, how to call it, when you impose something, you mandate, like mandates, you have to wear mandates, like dogs. All right, my friends, here is the big love between guys, and it's not going to be a big love, I guarantee you. And I foresee this scenario. The Russians will start pushing this way, and those guys will cross the border and take what they feel and they think it's theirs, the Ukrainian Western territories. See you. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.